Have you ever found yourself looking at the world around you and feeling like you see everything in a completely different way from most people? Maybe you have a sharper perception, a deeper understanding of what's happening around you. Perhaps you pick up on emotions with an intensity that feels almost supernatural, as if you're connected to something beyond the physical, beyond common logic. This feeling of being different, of perceiving things more deeply, could be a sign that you are a chosen one. Someone destined for something greater with a unique spiritual sensitivity. And that sensitivity isn't a weakness. On the contrary, it's one of the greatest tools you have to discover your purpose in this world. Think of it as an emotional and spiritual radar, connecting you to deeper truths, picking up on nuances and energies that most people will never perceive. But while this is an incredible gift, it can sometimes feel like a heavy burden to carry. When you feel everything so intensely, it can be hard to understand why you experience the world so differently. You might have asked yourself many times, why do I feel so much? Why does it seem like I carry a heavier weight than others? Now, stop and reflect for a moment. What if this sensitivity was actually the key to your purpose? What if you were chosen precisely because you feel so deeply, because you're so connected to the subtle, invisible energies around you? What if, within that emotional intensity, lies the direction you've been searching for? Think about it for a moment. What if this sensitivity was your greatest guide? If instead of being something that overwhelms you, it became the force that leads you and reveals your true path? Just imagine for a second. Have you ever considered that your sensitivity might be showing you the way all along, even when you couldn't consciously understand it? When you allow yourself to feel emotions purely, without resistance, without fear, you connect to something much greater. Emotions are often compasses that point us toward our true purpose. They show us what makes us vibrate, what makes us happy, and also what challenges us to grow. If you begin to see this sensitivity as a powerful tool, rather than a weight to be carried, you'll realize it's your greatest ally in this journey of self-discovery. Many people go through life without ever really knowing themselves. They follow the flow of what's expected of them, of what's socially acceptable, without ever stopping to listen to what their hearts really want to say. But for those who have this spiritual sensitivity, ignoring that inner calling is almost impossible. Because it's always there, whispering, nudging, making you question everything, showing you there's so much more to life than just following what others expect. When you feel everything so intensely, it's as if the universe is constantly trying to guide you toward a path of self-awareness. Every emotion, every sensation, every intuition is a clue about what you truly desire, about what really matters. Your sensitivity is a portal to your inner self, a kind of map that leads you directly to your heart, to your true self, without masks, without the expectations others place on you. It's a compass that doesn't lie. And that's where the real magic begins to happen. The more you know yourself, the more you understand where you belong in the world. What moves you? What truly makes you vibrate? What motivates you to get up every day and keep going? Gradually, you'll realize that this sensitivity is actually your greatest gift. It's your most valuable ally. It's what's going to show you the direction, the right path. Maybe right now you can't see that clearly. Maybe you still have doubts about what your role is in this vast puzzle that is life. But believe me, if you follow that inner compass, it will lead you exactly where you need to be. Think with me. If you close your eyes right now and let your heart speak, where does it take you? What desires does it whisper but you often ignore out of fear, insecurity, or doubt? Maybe the answer has been inside you for a long time, waiting to be discovered, waiting to be heard. After all, this sensitivity you carry, it's already shown you the way so many times before. You just need to trust. Trust yourself, trust your heart, and trust the process. Now, let's talk about vulnerability. That word can sound a bit scary to many people. Throughout life, we've been conditioned to believe that being vulnerable is synonymous with being weak. Society teaches us that being vulnerable is opening the door for others to hurt us. But what if I told you that vulnerability is actually one of the greatest acts of courage you can offer the world? Especially for those who are chosen. Being vulnerable means opening your heart to the world, even knowing that it might hurt you. It means living authentically, without hiding behind masks, without trying to be something you're not. And it's precisely in this exposure, in this honesty, that the true strength of the chosen ones lies. When you accept your vulnerability, you align yourself with the deepest truth of who you are. And by doing so, you free yourself from the need to pretend, from trying to be something you're not, just to please others or to fit in. Because true strength comes from authenticity, from being who you really are, with all your imperfections, with all your weaknesses. Vulnerability, contrary to what many believe, is what builds the deepest, most real connections. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you connect with people in a much more genuine and meaningful way. They feel that authenticity, that honesty, and are drawn to it. And as a chosen one, this courage to be vulnerable is part of your path. It's what will inspire and guide others. It's through your vulnerability that you become a beacon for those who are also seeking to reconnect with their own truth. Being vulnerable is like being a river that flows peacefully, navigating around obstacles along the way. The river doesn't fight against the rocks. It simply flows around them and continues its course. Being vulnerable is exactly that, accepting the flow of life, accepting that being sensitive, being open, being authentic is what truly makes you strong. It's what allows you to keep flowing even in the face of challenges. So I ask you, what would happen if you fully embraced your vulnerability? If instead of trying to protect or hide yourself, you showed the world exactly who you are, with courage, with authenticity, without fear? How would that change your life? How could that bring you more peace, more clarity, more confidence in your path? Now let's talk about the body and nature. Often, when we talk about spiritual sensitivity, we focus a lot on the mind or emotions. But the truth is, the body and even the environment around us, especially nature, are powerful allies in the spiritual journey of the chosen ones. Our body is more than just a physical vessel. It's the temple that houses our soul, our sensitivity. Every sensation, every shiver, every emotion felt in the body is a form of communication between the physical and the spiritual. As a chosen one, you have a unique connection with your body. And the more you tune into it, the more you can access this inner wisdom that the body carries. Sometimes, it's just a feeling, a discomfort in the stomach, a slight pressure in the chest, that tells you everything you need to know about a certain situation or person. That's your body acting as an antenna, picking up on the energies around you. And then there's nature. Nature is undoubtedly an extension of this sensitivity. It reflects back to us what is already inside us. Think for a moment. When you find yourself in a peaceful place, surrounded by nature, what do you feel? The calm that comes from a gentle breeze, the sound of leaves rustling, the energy of the sun touching your skin, all of this reconnects us with the harmony that exists within us. Nature is a kind of mirror. When you align with it, you also align with yourself. Many chosen ones find peace and clarity when they're close to nature. Whether it's a walk along a trail, feeling the earth beneath your feet, or simply a moment of silent observation of a tree. These moments are essential for recharging your energy, for balancing the body and mind. Because spiritual sensitivity can often overwhelm us. The intensity of emotions, the energies around us, all of it can be exhausting. And that's where the body and nature come in as powerful allies, bringing the necessary balance. So I ask you, have you stopped to listen to what your body is telling you? Have you allowed yourself to feel nature as a source of healing and balance? How about taking some time to reconnect with these allies in your journey? They're always available, waiting to guide you back to your center. Now let's dive into the stages of spiritual awakening. For the chosen ones, this journey is often marked by a series of intense and profound transformations. And like any transformation, it can come with moments of confusion, uncertainty, and even pain. But it's precisely in those moments that true growth happens. Spiritual awakening is a process that never happens all at once. It comes in waves, in cycles, each bringing a new layer of understanding, a new revelation. At the beginning, it might seem like everything is falling apart around you. What once felt certain suddenly no longer makes sense. The things that once brought you comfort now leave you restless. And it's at this point that many begin to question, what's happening to me? Why does everything feel so chaotic? But it's important to remember that this initial chaos is part of the journey. Heraclitus, one of the great philosophers of antiquity, said that the only constant in life is change. And this change, this transformation, is essential for spiritual growth. The chosen ones go through this in a very particular way because they are being called to align with a greater purpose. And for that to happen, it's often necessary to leave behind old versions of themselves, old beliefs, old ways of being and thinking. After the chaos comes acceptance, and with it, clarity. It's when you begin to understand that everything you went through, all the changes, all the losses, were actually part of a larger plan. Each phase of awakening brings with it a new layer of understanding, a new perception of your role in the world. And over time, you start to realize that even in the most difficult moments, you're being guided. Acceptance of transformation is one of the greatest lessons of spiritual awakening. When you stop resisting change and start embracing it, You make room for new possibilities, new paths. The flow of life, like the river we mentioned earlier, continues. And the more you surrender to this flow, the more you find your place within it. So, stop and reflect. What recent changes in your life have been hard to accept? And what if, instead of resisting, you simply accepted what's happening? How could that bring you more peace, more clarity? How might these transformations be leading you to your next level of spiritual evolution? As you move forward in this process of spiritual awakening, something interesting happens. Your relationships begin to change. As you become more aware of who you are and your purpose, the superficial connections that once may have been enough start to lose meaning. What you begin to seek are relationships that resonate with your new vibration, with your new perception of life. This can be challenging. Often, longtime friends, family members, or partners may start to feel disconnected from your path. It may seem that suddenly you're on different frequencies. And in many cases, that's true. When you're going through a deep spiritual transformation, it's natural for some relationships to fall out of alignment. And this can bring feelings of loneliness, of distance. But know that this is a necessary part of the process. The chosen ones are on a quest for authenticity, for depth. The relationships that were once based on social conventions, on superficial patterns, no longer fulfill you. You begin to crave connections that go beyond the trivial, that touch the soul, that inspire you to grow, that are aligned with your spiritual purpose. And this doesn't mean you'll stop loving the people who have been part of your journey until now. In fact, it's often an opportunity to honor those relationships for what they've taught you, while at the same time allowing them to follow the course they need to follow. Some bonds will strengthen, while others will weaken, and that's part of the natural balance of life. On the other hand, this phase also opens up space for new connections. As you align with your purpose, people who vibrate on the same frequency begin to appear in your life. These new connections are like beacons in the darkness. They bring a sense of belonging, of mutual understanding, without the need to explain or justify your sensitivity or your path. These people are also seeking something deeper, something more meaningful. So, think about this. Which relationships in your life are truly nourishing you? Which are aligned with your higher purpose? And at the same time, are you open to allowing new connections into your life to help you on this journey of spiritual growth? Now let's explore the power of emotions and energies, which are perhaps the most fascinating and challenging aspects of the chosen one's journey. Your sensitivity makes you feel emotions intensely and deeply. But it's not just that. You also pick up on the energies around you, as if you have an internal radar that detects what's beyond people's words and actions. This sensitivity to energies can be a blessing and, at the same time, something you need to learn to manage. Because, as a chosen one, you have the ability to absorb the energies of environments and people. Often this puts you in a unique position to heal. Not just for yourself but for others as well. You might be the one who, without even realizing it, calms a room full of tension. Or maybe you've noticed that people around you feel drawn to share their pain and fears with you because they feel you have a healing presence. But it's important to remember that this ability to absorb and heal also requires balance. Sometimes you may feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. This happens because, unconsciously, you absorb energies that aren't yours. And this is one of the most important lessons for those with this sensitivity: learning to distinguish what is yours from what belongs to others. And, more importantly, learning to release the energies that don't belong to you. There are many ways to do this. Meditation, for example, is a powerful tool. It helps you clear the excess accumulated energy and return to your own center. Conscious breathing is also a simple but extremely effective practice. When you focus on your breathing, you are reconnecting with yourself and releasing what isn't yours. The simple act of breathing deeply, consciously, can help you release the weight of external energies. Additionally, it's essential to create moments of solitude, of silence, where you can rebalance yourself. Being in touch with nature, as we mentioned earlier, is also a way to purify your energies. Water, for instance, has immense healing power. A simple bath can help wash away, literally, the energies accumulated in your body. So, I ask you, have you stopped to notice how the energies around you affect you? And how can you begin to use this sensitivity not only to feel what others are going through, but also to heal yourself and, eventually, help heal the world around you? The spiritual journey of the chosen ones is, above all, a journey of self-knowledge and authenticity. And these two concepts, self-knowledge and authenticity, are deeply linked. You can only be authentic when you truly know yourself, and self-knowledge, in turn, only comes when you allow yourself to be vulnerable and honest with yourself. Solitude, often seen as isolation or loneliness, can be the perfect environment for this kind of discovery. When you distance yourself from the noise of the world, from external judgments, you can hear yourself more clearly. Solitude is not about being alone, but rather being in intimate contact with yourself. It's in this space that the greatest revelations happen. When there's no longer the pressure to please or to fit in, you begin to discover who you truly are, what your real desires, fears, and ambitions are. Think of it like a mirror. Solitude allows you to look into the mirror of your soul without filters, without distortions. And it can be uncomfortable at first because maybe you'll see things you don't like, or that you're afraid to accept. But that's the beauty of self-knowledge. It sets you free. When you understand and accept who you really are, you start to live much more authentically, without the need for external approval, without fear of judgment. As a chosen one, this time of introspection is sacred. And more than that, it's necessary. It's in solitude that you connect with your deepest purpose. It's where you can separate external influences from your internal truth. And it's from this truth that you begin to act in the world in a way that's aligned with who you really are. A simple example. Imagine a sculptor who, before starting to sculpt, needs time to observe the stone, to visualize what it can become. That time of observation, of silence, is essential for the creative process. In the same way, you need that time of reflection, of solitude, to shape your life according to your internal truth. Without that pause, without that space, you run the risk of sculpting something that isn't truly yours. And when you live authentically, aligned with your purpose, the world around you begins to transform as well. The people who are drawn to you are those who resonate with your truth, and you start to create a positive impact not only in your life but in the lives of those around you. So I ask you, are you already setting aside moments of solitude in your life? How would it feel to dedicate more time to listening to your own voice, to reconnecting with who you truly are? Now, I want to talk about two fundamental aspects of the chosen one's journey: forgiveness and compassion. These are deep themes that touch the most sensitive layers of the soul. And perhaps they are the pillars that support much of our spiritual evolution. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. It's not about forgetting or minimizing what happened. On the contrary, forgiveness is an act of courage that frees us from carrying the weight of resentment, anger, and pain. When you hold on to hurt, it's like carrying a heavy load that no longer belongs to you. It limits you, keeps you from moving forward. Forgiving is essentially letting go of that load, making space for new energies to enter. As a chosen one, you're in a unique position to heal, not only for yourself but also for those around you. And forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools in this healing process. It allows you to move forward, lighter, without the shackles of the past. Forgiving doesn't mean agreeing with what happened or justifying someone's actions, but rather deciding that you will no longer allow those actions to have power over you. And forgiveness isn't just directed at others. Perhaps the hardest part is forgiving yourself. We are our own worst judges. We criticize ourselves, hold ourselves to impossible standards, and often cling to past mistakes as if we are defined by them. But just as you're capable of forgiving others, you're also worthy of forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself is an act of self-compassion, of recognizing that we are all here to learn and grow and that mistakes are part of that process. And that's where compassion comes in. True compassion isn't just feeling pity or sympathy. It's understanding someone else's pain from a deep place, from a space of spiritual connection. As a chosen one, your sensitivity allows you to feel the world's pain in a unique way. But instead of getting lost in that pain, you can channel that sensitivity into compassion, into a genuine desire to alleviate suffering, whether for a close friend or someone you barely know. Compassion is a transformative force. It allows us to see beyond appearances, beyond people's superficial actions, and understand that deep down we are all seeking the same thing: love, acceptance, peace. When you act with compassion, you create a space of healing around you. And that healing inevitably comes back to you. So I ask you, is there someone you need to forgive, including yourself? And how can you bring more compassion into your life, both in your relationships with others and in how you treat yourself? We've arrived at the culmination of this journey we've taken together, the moment when you fully embrace your sensitivity and your purpose as a chosen one. Everything we've discussed up to this point, spiritual sensitivity, self-knowledge, vulnerability, connection with the body and nature, transformations, relationships, energy, forgiveness, and compassion, are pieces of a larger puzzle. And that puzzle is your journey, the path you're destined to walk. Perhaps throughout your life, you've wondered why things seem so intense for you. Why the world affects you in such a deep way? The answer is simple: because you were chosen to be a light in this world. Your sensitivity isn't a curse, it's a gift. A gift that connects you to the subtler layers of reality, allowing you to see and feel things that many ignore. This can be, yes, a burden at times, but it's also a source of immense strength. Your purpose is directly tied to this sensitivity. Think of it as a tool that was given to you to navigate life in a unique way, to access truths and knowledge that are beyond the obvious. Your purpose isn't to fit into the world as it is. Your purpose is to transform it. To transform it with your light, with your ability to feel deeply, to heal, to inspire others to do the same. This journey of the chosen ones isn't linear. It isn't easy. It's full of ups and downs, of moments of clarity followed by confusion. But deep down, all of this is preparing you for something greater. Every experience, every intense emotion, every relationship that transforms or dissolves, is all part of a larger plan. And the more you accept this, the more you embrace who you truly are, the more your path is revealed. The world needs you exactly as you are. With your sensitivity, with your doubts, with your intensity. Because it's this combination that makes you who you are. It's what allows you to create change, to heal wounds, both yours and those of the people around you. Your light is needed, your presence is essential. So, at the end of this reflection, I invite you to make a choice. A choice to fully embrace your sensitivity, your purpose, and the fact that you are a chosen one. Choose to walk with the certainty that you have something valuable to offer the world, even if the world doesn't yet know it. Because, in the end, it's not about fitting into what's already there. It's about transforming, creating something new, something more aligned with the truth you carry inside. The question I leave with you is, are you ready to fully embrace who you are? Are you ready to live in alignment with your purpose, knowing that the world needs the light that only you can offer? If you connected with this message, if you felt something in you was touched, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Here we'll continue exploring this spiritual journey of the chosen ones together, always seeking more understanding, more clarity, and more connection with our purpose. I'll see you in the next video.